Am I being totally politically too correct to say Columbus was a murderous thug who was involved in the sex trade and the slave trade and all, and therefore it's kind of dumb for us to celebrate it? Or is this, see, my take on this is, frankly, this is an entirely Eurocentric holiday, an entirely Eurocentric worldview. White Europeans saying, "Oh yeah, we enslaved these people and those people and these people over here, and get over it." Well, a lot of indigenous people are not ready to get over it. In fact, a lot of indigenous people didn't survive it. And I think that, we should be seriously talking about that. In fact, let me tie this back to our rant from last week about Homeland. You will remember from our conversation that when Rudolf Hess and Adolf Hitler, Hess helped Hitler write Mein Kampf, by the way, when Hitler was recovering from his wounds from World War I. Hess was his buddy. And while Hitler was in jail for a while, Hess was his buddy, and he helped him write Mein Kampf. And they had been vigorous students in the 1920s of the Zionist movement, the Jewish movement to have a Jewish homeland in the Middle East. And the Zionist movement used the word homeland. Our people genetically, our people religiously, our people ancestrally. There's a homeland. So the question in my mind, going back to the word homeland and tying this into kind of Indigenous Peoples Day, is, would a person of color have come up with the word homeland to describe the Department of Homeland Security? Keep in mind, when Hitler was when he introduced in 1934 in the Nuremberg Rally, when Rudolf Hess introduced Adolf Hitler and said, "Danke, Herr Führer," thanks to the Führer, I forget the next line, and then he says, Heimat zu sein. We have a Heimat is the German word for homeland. A homeland here. Heimat zu sein for alles the Deutsche in die ganze Welt, as I recall. All of the Germans in the entire world. In fact, here it is. Here's Rudolf Hess.
Dank Ihrer Führung wird Deutschland sein Ziel erreichen, Heimat zu sein. Heimat zu sein für alle Deutschen der Welt.
So keep in mind, he was saying we are creating a homeland for all the Germans in the world, and the slogan that the Germans used was Blut und Erde, blood and earth. In other words, the German blood, this Germanic blood, flows through us, and it is tied to this soil, this Germany, on which we have lived for hundreds or thousands of years, or tens of thousands of years, depending on your mythology. So a homeland is a place where a people came from, historically. Now, I can understand a Native American calling North America, or at least that part of North America that the United States occupies, a homeland. Here's the Apache homeland. Here's the Iroquois homeland. That makes perfect sense. But the rest of us, the Caucasians who came here as invaders, the African Americans who were brought here as slaves, people of other ethnicities who came from all over the world, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily. Is it appropriate that we be calling this homeland? Or is homeland just a word for white people? I mean, I was over the weekend. Melissa Harris Perry had a particularly poignant show this weekend on MSNBC, or at least Sunday. I didn't see her Saturday show, but I was on an airplane flying back from Vegas all day Saturday. But Sunday she had a particularly poignant show in which she played a whole bunch of clips from these. Now pretty much everybody has a smartphone, and smartphones have movie cameras in them. So what was happening in a big way in the 1900s, in the 1700s, the 1800s, the 1900s, throughout the 20th century, the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, I guarantee you, Black people got stopped by cops and got the crap beat out of them and got put in jail and got intimidated and got threatened over and over and over every single day, all the time, all over the United States. It's just that the black people who are being intimidated, or the people of color, I mean, this applies to Hispanics as well, in large part, they didn't have a video camera with them. Now they do. Now we're seeing it every week. It's a brand new outrage. Do the folks, if you're a person who has been pulled over simply because you look different than the police officer and the authority of the state is being used to smash in your window and tase you because you didn't produce your papers fast enough, do you feel like this is your homeland? I'd have a real problem with that. So anyway, not to mention the fact that Columbus, as far as I know, never made it to continental North America. He only made it to the island of Hispaniola, which is now the Dominican Republic and Haiti. But what do we do with this? We'll be back.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
My suggestion, very simple. Number one, dump the word homeland, period. And number two, let's start calling it Indigenous Peoples Day. Seattle is right.